Still letting folks in. All right. We're gonna before we good morning, good morning, good morning. Some folks just came in. Good morning. We're gonna watch part 2 of the fingerprinting video, and then I'm gonna let you. Some of you actually have 2 people who are finished with the gizmo, but I'm gonna give you time to finish that and finish up anything else you might need to finish up. So give it a few minutes. It's Friday. Folks running a little behind. All right. I know I have quite a few seniors in the class, so just a heads up to you all. If you have anything outstanding, please make sure that it's in order by next week. 'Cause you know your grades have to go in before everybody else. Where much? Oh, there it is. All right. Okay. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I was waiting on you.
Welcome back. We are in our second lesson of our fingerprints. So in a previous lesson, we just talked about fingerprints in general and the different classifications of fingerprints and patterns. We also talked about the commonality of different types of fingerprints and the patterns that exist within the world population. And then today we're specifically going to talk about different patterns that fingerprint analysts look for when they are trying to match a crime scene print to a suspect print. So just a quick review, fingerprinting as a means of personal identification has been around for quite some time. We also learned in a previous lesson that fingerprints are a reproduction of the friction skin ridges that are found on our fingertips. We know that fingerprints can be classified in 3 ways: loops, whorls, and arches, and then you can further classify from there. 65% of the population has loops, making loops the most common fingerprint pattern. 30% whorls, and 5% of the population has arches. So arches is the least common, most unique pattern on a fingerprint. When a fingerprint touches a surface, perspiration and oils are transferred to that surface, leaving behind a print. We can have latent prints or patent prints, and we're going to talk about those in a future lesson. So for today's lesson, you need to know that fingerprints remained unchanged throughout an individual's lifetime. So fingerprints are actually formed in the womb, and they stick with a person throughout their lifetime. Now, there are some exceptions. For example, injuries. So if you have ever been cut on your fingertip and you have a scar, then that would be an example of a way that your fingerprint would change throughout your lifetime. But for the most part, fingerprints remain unchanged. The individuality of a fingerprint is not determined by its general classification, which means that a fingerprint analyst is not going to look at a suspect print compared to a crime scene print and say, oh, these are both loops, so they must be a match. However, they do look at what's called minutia patterns. So these are more specific patterns within the fingerprint that fingerprint analysts look for, and they try to get as many minutia patterns in common before they call a match a match. So fingerprint analyst compares those common ridge patterns and minutia patterns. We're going to look at some of those patterns today. If you'll look at the picture on the left, this is not all inclusive of all the patterns, but these are some of the most common patterns, and then the names for those patterns. And we are going to do a little bit of practice where we try to identify these different minutia patterns in a fingerprint. So, but if we do that, I will always give you like a little cheat sheet like you see on the screen. So you can see in the picture on the right of the screen some different minutia patterns, what they look like in a real life fingerprint. So for years, experts have debated on how many ridge comparisons are necessary to identify two fingerprints as a match or the same fingerprint or coming from the same person. And different jurisdictions require different numbers of minutia patterns in common before a match is declared. Usually it's 8 to 16 points of comparison in common, and then they're able to say, oh, well, this is 85% likely that it's a match, or this is 90% likely that it's a match. Some experts believe that fingerprints are not an exact science and actually should not be the only means of a conviction. So there are a lot of people out there that believe that fingerprints are not unique. And there are some cases that exist in history that really call this practice and this theory that no two people have the same print into question. And we're going to look at that today. I'm going to let you do some of your own research on that. So I'm curious to know what you think. What do you believe? Do you think that fingerprints are acceptable forms of evidence that can be used to convict someone of a crime? Or do you think maybe some other evidence has to go along with it? All right, so what I want you to do is I want you to take a look at Frontline PBS's The Real CSI. So it was a program put out by Frontline, which is a show that's on PBS, and you can do a quick Google search. Just search Frontline PBS's The Real CSI, and you should be able to find that video. I want you to watch the first like 20 minutes of the video, because that's where they talk about the Brandon Mayfield case. So I want you to check out that case. It is really interesting. It really calls to question some of the practices that we use in forensics. Now, personally, I still do believe that fingerprints has its place in forensics and definitely can be the only means to convict someone, but it does, bring up some questions. And I'm just curious to know if it's going to do the same for you. So I will put the link in the description box. I also have the URL link here if you just want to copy it down. I want you to watch this video and then be ready to discuss what you find.
All right. We cannot watch that because it's going to be blocked. But what I do want you to do is to
All right, welcome to our final lesson.
To finish your fingerprint gizmo. And then before the lesson is over, I'm going to show you, I thought I've put it in here already. I guess not. All right, so make sure that you are working on your fingerprint gizmo. And then before the end of the class, I'm going to show you the assignment that I have for you on how to do your fingerprints. And so it's something that you can think about over the weekend, because it's kind of messy. So finish this up and I will put that up before class is over. Again, if any questions, please ask. There you go. Good morning, Jaden. We just finished watching the fingerprint video too. And now we're working on our gizmo, trying to get that finished. What did I do with that assignment? Ah, there it is. I put it for, all right, I found it. I had put it for Monday, but no, it's supposed to be available today. So why is it not showing? Today is May 1st. Y'all don't do that. Justin Bieber could have been May. It's May already. Change my calendar. Okay, thank you for the correction. Did I say Justin Bieber? I'm sorry. I knew it was in sync. I meant Timberlake. What's his name, Justin? Yeah, that's the one. Him. It's early in the morning. All right, so again, please try to get this assignment finished. We are like 2 weeks out. It is May. So we have 2 weeks left to school, really. 15th will be here before you know it, and that's kind of the deadline for all current work. After that, we have finals, and that's it. That's all she wrote. So please use this class time to do class work. I hear you. I like to print stuff too. Good morning. We're finishing up our gizmo. Again, if you came in late, we watched Fingerprint 2. It is on your class list. DeAndre, you're here, but it says you're offline. All right, good morning. I'm finishing up the Gizmo. We watched Fingerprints 2, so it's in your playlist. You get a chance to go back and watch that. Yeah, the video that they mentioned in the, I mean, sorry, yes, the crime scene video that they mentioned in the video, we will not get a chance to watch that because, like I said, it'll be blocked. But if it's something that you can watch at home, by all means do so. If you have streaming and you have cable, you can look that up on PBS. And when I think almost everybody's in, because we're still missing a couple of people, I will go over the uh, your fingerprint activity with you so that you can do that over the weekend. Go just under the wire. Good morning. Please finish your fingerprint gizmo. See a lot of people logged in and a lot of people idle. Please get your work done. Okay, I do have quite a few people who are finished, so I'm going to go ahead and explain what you need to do with the activity that I want you to do at home. All right, so you should see this in your, uh, actually give me a minute to make sure that's in the module as well. Okay, here it is. Okay. All right, so you're going to download a worksheet and you're going to do your own fingerprints. And it explains to you how to do that. So you're going to take a pencil and you're going to, do the pencil back and forth on paper so that you get a good little buildup. And then you're going to use that as, not instead of ink that will stain your fingers, you're going to use the pencil shavings to create fingerprints. Okay. I have included a template. So if you can print, that would be nice. If you can't print, you're going to have to create your own. So this is going to be one of those, you have to do it on paper, and then you're going to have to take a picture of it and upload your picture. My only request is that you look at the picture before you upload it and make sure you can actually see, it's a good picture that you can actually see the fingerprints that you got. Okay. All right. So it does explain how to do that. Um, we're not going to do the balloon part. So there's some stuff up here that you don't need. So don't worry about that. We're only going to do the part for the template. So there's a whole page that I took out of here. But it says try the activity to see what type of fingerprints you have. Using a pencil, you're going to scribble a section, not on the worksheet. Do it on a separate sheet of paper. And next to that, rub your finger and your thumb, and you want to roll it back and forth. You can't see what I'm doing. Roll it back and forth on the paper. And then you're going to take a piece of Scotch tape, and then tape it to your finger. And then you're going to take that tape and tape it to the box. Okay, so don't take your finger and then go to the paper. You want to put it on the tape. So you're going to have all these little pieces of tape on there with your fingerprint, and that'll preserve it, and that makes it stand out a little bit better. Okay, and that's all I need for you to do with that part. Then you want to, so you're going to look for, so the objective is to identify what type of fingerprints you have. So you do need to tell me, is it whorls or loops or arches? But I'm also asking you to, oops, I'm gonna go back to that because somebody just came to class. All right, so I put a little, and this is also in Canvas. I got all these pictures from Canvas. So in the Canvas lesson, which is prior, let me go back a little, tell you exactly where it is. All right, so if you read over this page, classification of fingerprints, it identifies what the different types should look like. I took this picture like this from here, and I want you to do delta and core. If you want to identify some minutiae, you can, but I only want you to really identify core and delta and the type of fingerprint that you have. Okay, so that's all right. So like I said, quite a few of you have finished your gizmo. Yay. All right. So again, you're going to identify those things. You're going to use a pencil and some tape to do this. Again, this is something, if you don't have a printer, you're going to have to create your own little template page so that you can take a picture of it and upload it. So this says rubbing box. You can use the rubbing box if you want to, but I would do it on a separate sheet of paper. Okay, because that's going to get messy. And then after that, so this is, I guess the rubbing box is kind of like the little ink pad that they have that you see on TV when they're doing your fingerprints. So, but do that on a separate sheet of paper and then create enough scribble with the pencil so that you get a good amount of dust so that you can get good fingerprints. Okay. All right. So that's something to do over the weekend. Like I said, there's other stuff on the list that we're just not going to do the whole activity that they had, just the fingerprint part. You are doing your gizmo, and that's the other part of the lab for you. Okay. All right. So any questions? Any questions? Any questions? So again, if you cannot print, then you need to draw your own little template page, put your fingerprints on it, tape them down so that they're clear, and then identify them. So you want to highlight on your fingerprints or circle or however you wish to do the deltas and the cores. You want to label at the top somewhere what kind of fingerprints you have, plain arch, tinted arch. And remember how they said that arches are like 5% of the people. So if you have arches, you're 5% of the people. So identify what kind of pattern you have and highlight deltas and cores. Okay, so it's a labeled picture when you send it to me. Thank you. And you don't have to label all of them. So find a good print and label these things on there. So you're identifying your type in general, but find a good print that really shows your deltas and cores. Okay, so you don't have to circle every single print. Okay, probably your thumb because it'd be the biggest. All right. Continue with your gizmo. Again, if you finish your gizmo, please go back and fill in anything that's missing, especially my seniors. Oh. All right, so again, please make sure that you check to see if there are any missing assignments and make sure they get caught up over the weekend. A couple of you have some. I was surprised how many people still haven't done their Earth Day challenge. And let me know if the fingerprint assignment for you to do at home is a question. All right, if you need me to open something so that you can get past work done, please let me know. Again, please work on getting those. It's May. We need everything done by the 15th. You'll soon see, um, and the seniors by next week. Seniors by May 8th. Everybody else by May 15th. A lot of that going on. Yeah, what time am I gonna do that next? Wow. right, Janila. Excellent, excellent. That's where it looked. All right, lovely people. Find a place, good place to stop. Time to go. You all have a great weekend. Do those fingerprints. I already got one and it was wonderful. Thank you, Janila. Uh, have a good one. Enjoy.